always talk about the matchups dictating who gets the ball, who scores. What led to Jalen and Derrick getting the opportunities and the scoring, in this game?
It was kind of the epitome of what our team can be when we play together, and each guy plays the best version of them, and then when one guy doesn't have it, the next guy steps up. And so I thought we were really intentional about who was playing well, what the matchup was, and what the spacing. And so that's kind of what we have to try to become.
How do you see Jalen respond, take advantage of matchups, and lead you guys down the stretch?
Yeah, man, the best thing that I've seen from him is his consistency defensively. And when your two best players compete at a high level defensively, it sets the tone. And so, we know Derrick and Drew are going to do that because that's what they do. But for Jason and particularly Jalen, these first two games, regardless of how it's going on running the floor, he's competing at a high level with toughness and physicality. And tonight, he showed what he is. And he's a guy that when we need a basket, he can get to his spot and he can get a basket. And I just really like where he's at.
Normally, it's been Tatum and Brown kind of handling the ball in the fourth quarter down the stretch. Today, it was a lot less of that, a lot more of Derrick doing that. Is that just an adjustment from last year, or something that just happened today, or what went into that?
No, I think you just try to. Depends on the matchup, and so there's times where depending upon who's being guarded by who, we want the dribbler being involved, we want the screener being involved, and it just kind of depends. And so I thought Derrick did a great job of not only making plays when he had the ball, but setting the table and putting guys where they're supposed to go and making sure we were attacking the right matchup with the right set and the right coverage. And so that's kind of what him and Drew and really all of our guys have to have an awareness of, what we're trying to accomplish on each possession, who do we need to get involved, and how do we do it together.
And, a year ago, there were games where Derrick barely played in the fourth quarter, and now here he is having a huge fourth quarter to kind of carry you guys. What have you seen that's given you that trust in him to put him in these spots?
He wants to win. And the plays he made tonight were sick. They were just sick plays. And there's no word you can describe it. And I thought it was, that's just what he does, regardless of, like you said, he has the humility to do what's best for the team. And when his number's called, he shows up regardless of what's happened. And that's big for us. But each guy out there today, made tough plays. And I think the cool thing is we can get so much better tactically on both ends of the floor. But as long as we do it together and do it with toughness, we got a chance.
You mentioned a couple of those plays Derrick made. He obviously had those two blocks at the rim, I think both on Jimmy. Drew had one at the rim as well. What does it do for a defense when you have two guards like that are able to impact the game defensively at all three levels?
When you have, as you said, when those two guys you can change matchups with them, you can go to different things, you can play different, they just give you such weapons defensively because of their physicality and toughness. And when those two bring it, and then you have JT, JV, Al, guys that you can count on defensively. When your best players care about defense, you have a chance to be a good team. And like I said, we're not playing perfect basketball, but we're playing physical basketball, and we're trying to work together. And those two things are the most important.
When Derrick first got here, you guys were imploring him to take shots. Everybody on the team said we want him to take shots, and then fourth quarter he just comes down and just puts up a heat check and hits it. How important is it when he's playing with four other stars for Derrick to play with that confidence in these big moments?
If we want to have a chance to maximize our talent in our team, each guy has to be at their best, and so that is where the sacrifice comes in. And like you talked about, sacrifice looks different, but for Derrick to play with that type of freedom and that empowerment, everybody has to be able to do that. And like I said, we're not going to be able to replicate this every night, but what we saw was each individual guy being their best and playing together. And so the more we can replicate that, the more we can maximize who we have. And it's very important that they all do that. And, I thought Drew was more comfortable out there tonight than he was in game one, and we're just kind of figuring each other out. But that's the most important thing is we got to get the best of every player.
Joe, you mentioned the individual plays that Derrick made. You look at the run he had, the blocks, and then even Jalen getting that inbound steal. What's the impact of momentum, and how does it affect how you coach and the balance of feeding into the momentum versus staying calm and just playing the game the right way?
That's a highly scientific question, something I study a lot. Serious. Study a lot of momentum.
Did
Like
you
how
talk
do you?
about it on the JJ Redick pod?
Yeah, something I learned. I had to learn the hard way when we lost to Brooklyn last year. And so, I think momentum's a huge thing. I think there's ways that you can manipulate it. I think there's ways that you can stop it. And it's just something that just comes with instinct, I think, and it comes kind of with knowing your team and knowing the situation, knowing the opponent. But when you have guys that can make big momentum plays, like the one thing we haven't talked about yet is O'Shea Brissett, and like he didn't play in game one, and like he changed the game with like that's to me is what momentum's all about. Like he came in, he made a significant impact, and he did his job at a high level, and so we have to get to a point where what he did is just as important as what the other guys have done tonight, and he helped us win.
Is that something you look for in the substitutions? Like you were getting hurt on the glass, little O'Shea attacked it and cut. Is that something you look for, versus trends in the game to build that momentum?
You can, yeah. So he was supposed to go in to start the second, but I felt like we needed him earlier, and so you just kind of went with him, and he did a great job.
Continue that theme. You had 7 guys with at least 5 rebounds. How much of that dynamic is something you prepped for and messaged ahead of the game, and how much of that is on-the-fly effort or reads from the guys?
Offense or defense?
I got 7 guys with 5 just rebounds in general, but you had 16 offensive rebounds too.
Yeah, I still think that's an area we can get better. We still give up some timely ones, right? But we got timely ones, and so we're never going to play perfect. But I thought O'Shea's timely offensive rebounds in the first half were tremendous. I thought Jalen, Drew came back and got one. Jason we got some timely physical rebounds, and so it's important that we fight to do that as many possessions as we can.
Joe, in the past, that team has hunted you down and passed you in the fourth quarter and outclassed you over the years. What was it in the fourth quarter this time that was different? They were 4 for 19. I mean, they got to the line a lot, but you were the better team in the fourth quarter. What happened?
I mean, listen, it's only game 2, so I'm sure, we're all going to play perfect fourth quarter basketball at some point, and then you'll ask me another question about what happened in the fourth quarter. You didn't win. But I think tonight we were intentional, and we knew we played with a sense of poise. We attacked the right matchups. We got to our spot. It was a good balance of shooting open threes and getting to the free throw line and posting up the mismatch when we needed to. And defensively, we made some timely possessions. And so, we still didn't play great fourth quarter basketball. But for game 2 of what we're trying to get to, it's a good start. But we got a long way to go, so I'm not going to be too excited.
I thought it was a positive question.
It was. I was just with the a little down the line, and so I'm all.
Joe, we're sorry.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, one.
Yeah,
One more, Joe.
She missed one earlier. Yeah, you did.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated you bringing up in practice yesterday the mass shooting in Maine, and just your willingness to bring social issues to light in your pressers. And I was wondering if you have any thoughts on what additional actions the organization or players can take when events take place. I saw the warm-ups were a really wonderful gesture, and I was curious if you just had any other thoughts that you wanted to share on that.
No, I mean, listen, everybody handles situations like that in their own way, and so it's not up to each person to do it one type of way. And so I thought our guys and our organization did a great job by honoring them, by speaking about it, by wearing what we wore. But each person's different, and each person goes through situations like this different. I think the most important thing is just when the people that are involved in that situation can know that, we're thinking about you, we're praying for you, and we have a level of empathy for you. And I think it just kind of starts there, right? And I thought our organization's done that. I think people around the country have done that.
Thank you.
Thanks.